What up? What up? UFC 2 that breakdowns. Like, subscribe, follow, all that good stuff. All right. We got UFC Fight Night, Kattar versus Emmett. This took place in Austin, Texas. It's a good card. There's a lot of knockouts. A lot. All right. We had Roman Dolidze versus Kyle Dacus. Dolidze is 10-1. Dacus is 11-3. Dacus' older brother is crazy heavyweight. Roman Dolidze knocked him out in the first round. Next up, we had Phil Hawes versus Duran Win. This is crazy. So Duran Win is like a protege of Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier calling the card. So after the fight, Phil Hawes looked good. He was lighting him up, landing elbows. It was crazy. But Phil Hawes knocked him out in the second round. I don't know how Wynn even made it to the second round. Knocked him out in the second round. DC came into the ring to interview Phil Hawes, and Phil Hawes was screaming at him, "You picked the wrong corner." I think he thought DC was just there because he's close with Duran Wynn, maybe. What's funny, man, DC, be ready. Don't be disrespectful. Phil Hawes later put out an apology like, "Don't beat me up, DC." I told y'all, DC, be ready. All right, we had Eddie Wineland versus Cody Stamann. Stamann knocked Wineland out very fast, like first minute, I believe. Maria Oliveira versus Gloria DePaula. Gloria DePaula right back in there. I really like her as a fighter. Maria Oliveira won by decision. I feel like the things Oliveira did were more dramatic and more pleasing to the crowd. But I feel like Gloria won that fight. I don't feel like Gloria won it. Or I don't feel like Maria won it. I'm sorry. Next up, we had Ricardo Ramos versus Danny Chavez. First round KO. Like, just a lot of KOs on this card. Next up, Court McGee versus Jeremiah Wells. Jeremiah Wells looked real good. Came in there and knocked out Court McGee in the first round. Jasua Vicious versus Natalia Silva. I don't have any comments. I don't even remember who won. I think Silva won by decision. Of course, Cowboy and Joe Luzon were canceled again. Now, I said this in a short, but I think like they got some kind of scheme going. Like, UFC's paying both of those guys. They're long-term dudes who've always been loyal. They're paying them. They just keep scheduling fights but not canceling them, so their contract extends. They're getting paid for appearances and stuff. All right, I don't know if that's true. That's just a conspiracy theory. Next up, we had the main card. We had Adrian Yanez versus Tony Kelly. Yanez first round knockout. Like I told you, like everybody was getting knocked out in this thing. Next up, we had Julian Marquez versus Gregory Rodriguez. Another first round knockout, but this one was crazy. Like, that Marquez is tough. Next up, we had Damir Ismagulov versus Goram Kutalaze. Both of these dudes are scary. They're like, it's like they had two bears, and it was like, who are we gonna let these bears fight against? And they was like, well, we don't want to get any of our fighters killed, so just let them fight each other. 24-1, 12-3 of their records. They're both scary dudes. They both hit hard. They both wrestle. Like, they're both from like somewhere where people wrestle bears as a child type of places. Like, they're both scary dudes for whoever's got to fight either one of them next. Damir Ismagulov won by decision on that one. Next up, we had Joaquin Buckley versus Albert Duraev. Man, Buckley, that dude is powerful, man. He busted that dude Duro's eye up so bad. He won by KO in the second round. What did he do to knock this guy out? I think it was just a straight right. What did he do to knock him out? How have I forgotten? He was doing a bunch of crazy big movement stuff, but he didn't tire out. He really looked better than he's ever looked, to be honest. Like, he's really putting it together, Buckley, because he kind of had that big that big knockout with that crazy kick early in his career, and then since then, it's kind of been like, uh-oh. My fault. I'm reading some articles saying that they're changing the TKO to the third round. If that's worth talking about, I'll post some about it later. I don't know. But yeah, next up we had Kevin Holland versus Tim Means, the Dirty Bird. This is a really good fight. It was both guys are great. Kevin Holland looked, I think, better than ever. That dude is good. Ended up submitting Tim Means. He had him really hurt, just beating him up bad, and then ended up submitting him at the end of the second round, or the beginning, towards the beginning of the second round. That was a good fight. That Kevin Holland, man, that dude is good. And then next up, we had Kevin Kattar versus Josh Emmett. This is a crazy fight. I felt like Kevin Kattar might have pulled this out. I feel like he was the better fighter, but Josh Emmett was hitting him so hard, so hard. It was a really good fight. Very evenly matched. It was a split decision for Josh Emmett. Nobody got robbed. They're both awesome fighters. They're both at the top of the food chain in the featherweight division. Overall, man, it was a good card. A lot of knockouts. So many knockouts. Like, Kevin Holland could have got a knockout if he wanted one. Like, he could have just let Tim Means get back up and knocked him out, but he went for the submission. I'm not knocking it. It was a finish anyway. Yeah, this is actually one of the better cards in a while. Like, that wasn't a pay-per-view at least. The pay-per-views have all been pretty good lately, but other than the pay-per-views, this is probably one of the better, smaller cards that, wasn't necessarily for a championship or anything, but just the fights were good and so many knockouts. I think they broke the record for how many knockouts they had this one. Anyways, that's enough. These are getting shorter and shorter. That's by design. I'm on here rambling half the time, so I'm trying to... Nobody's here. If you're here at this point, I love you. Thank you for listening. Like, subscribe, share, all that good shit. Bye.